Okay, hello my little master chefs. This is the first of two videos that I'm going to make in relation to our second task, which is the social media task. This one's going to run through a bit of an overview of the task, show you where the resources are and the assessment task sheets. The next video that I make will go through some of the background information that will help you hopefully with the investigation aspect of the task. So, in our class teams, I'm over in the classwork section and I am in task 2, social media, technology and cultural foods. As you can see here, the first piece of information that you have available to you is the task sheet itself. Then the student prac evidence sheet, which is the two sheets where you input your photographs and you address the practical application criteria. There's also a PDF file for articles from hospitality.com. Now that one I will talk through in our next little video. What I want to start with you guys here though is the PowerPoint presentation here for the task overview. So I'm just going to open that up and we will go to the slideshow. Okay, so now this is from a couple of years ago, but the task hasn't changed drastically since then, so 98% of it should still be very relevant. So the performance standards for this task, at a C-band level, you're asked to investigate competently and provide some considered critical analysis of contemporary trends and or issues related to food and hospitality. In this instance, our issue is about the use of social media and how that can impact upon hospitality businesses as a trend, and it gives you the chance to investigate and critically analyse that trend. You're also going to be asked to provide considered analysis of information that you use for the relevance and appropriateness, and generally make sure that you appropriately acknowledge your sources, so your work needs to be referenced. Where it talks about analysis of information for relevance and appropriateness, for example, the next video that I'm going to talk you through the articles and things that I provide for you. One of the things that you need to be aware of is that that was put together probably around 7 or 8 years ago now, so some of that information may well be out of date, or you may need to find updated data. So that's one way that you are making sure that it is relevant and appropriate for the task. And obviously, as per usual, generally effective application of literacy and numeracy, including competent use of appropriate terminology, which is just about your spelling, grammar and ability to write sentences, etc. Okay, so what we're looking at in this task when it comes to the investigation component is the effect of the internet on the food, retail and hospitality industry. And that can cover a whole range of different things. So you could look at how the internet is used by hospitality businesses. Other things that to consider is how the internet is used by the clientele of hospitality businesses. You've probably heard or seen or remember Facebook or news articles and things where various businesses have been in the media because of either reviews that they have received or the way that they have replied to comments on their Facebook posts or on their Instagram posts, etc., etc. There are also a whole lot of chefs that actually use social media on a regular basis these days, and the impact that that has had on their ability to run sustainable businesses is also an area which is something which could be looked at. Questions to answer, things like, can good use of the internet make a business? Can it break a business? Are there actually instances where a business has received bad reviews on their food or on their restaurant and has actually gone out of business? And I can tell you that yes, there is, and if you search for them you will be able to find examples of that both in Adelaide, South Australia and across Australia. How do the public respond to internet use by hospitality businesses is another area that you might want to look at. So how much interaction is there actually between a business and its clientele? When it comes to an online presence, using Google, do a quick Google search, see what and who you can find in Adelaide when it comes to restaurants, chefs, food, etc. On Facebook, Twitter and various web pages, etc. Twitter using hashtags. I'm sure Instagram is the same, your food inspo, your high-end meals, your restaurants, your eating out, All of those types of tags are used by a lot of businesses these days as well. When it comes to social media, one thing to consider, is it the actual chef or is it the restaurant who's actually more of a presence online, and why might that be the case? Are we looking at high-end or low-end establishments? So are we looking at places like Jolly's Boathouse and Appellation, or are we looking at your McDonald's and your Cafe Primo type places? When it comes to chefs, a couple of notable Australian identities. Adam Lior, who is an Adelaide boy, I can find some data on Instagram, 300,000 followers, 200,000 followers on Facebook. Then you've got people like Renald Pomero, who you might remember from MasterChef a couple of years ago. He has 1 million followers on Instagram and 800,000 on Facebook. So that gives him quite a large presence and quite a lot of, I suppose, what do you call it? Oh, I don't know, I can't think of the word, but he has quite a big online presence. One of the biggest influences in the restaurant scene that the internet has had is in the area of restaurant review sites. Some of those that you might be aware of include places like TripAdvisor, Urban Spoon, look for the Adelaide one, Eatability Adelaide, Yelp is one, and of course there's Facebook and food bloggers. It might not necessarily be a restaurant review site, but restaurants that have their own Facebook sites, Capella's being an obvious local example, you will find that people will post comments, good, bad, otherwise indifferent, on their Facebook sites, and that's all about then how do you actually manage that as a business to make sure that it is not harming your business but doing your business a positive service. So the research task for this one, it's a 500-word research task. You must incorporate some primary research as well as secondary sources. Now that could be in the format of a survey of people or clients. It could be an interview with a restaurateur. It could also be the use of their actual online presence. So you can go to a restaurant's Facebook site, you can have a look at what people are writing, you can download screen captures, you can use the photographs that they are posting of their meals as examples of what's going on in the industry. You don't have to necessarily go out and conduct interviews and surveys. You do need to think about what your focus question is going to be. I have provided you with one on the task sheet, but you may wish to alter it. That's fine, just chat to me about it. Remembering that even in 500 words, you still need to have an introduction, a middle, and a conclusion. So your introduction is going to be literally a sentence or two. Your middle might again be split into 1 or 2 paragraphs, possibly a negative impact and a positive impact. Your conclusion might include a couple of recommendations. You need to fit this all into 500 words, so you are not going to be able to cover a massive amount of information. You are going to have to be very succinct, and that is part of the skill involved in writing a 500-word task. You must use in-text reference. Please make sure there is a minimum of at least 3 various sources within that. And again, if you're not sure how to use in-text referencing, there is a video on my website about using the word reference generator, which does it all for you. Or I'm quite happy to go through that with you as well, and I will be doing that in research project for year 11s in the next couple of weeks as well. The practical task, so we've already spoken a little bit about this. You're preparing a dish which would be suitable to advertise a business. You're going to be presenting that dish, thinking very carefully about how the photographs that you're going to produce might be used on a website. So think very carefully about not just how you're going to plate your dish up, but do you need to dress the photo? Do there need to be other elements and things within the photograph itself? Or are you simply going to put your food on a white plate and take a photo of it on a stainless steel bench? Think very carefully about it. Have a look through some magazines, have a look through some cookbooks, see how food is plated and how those photographs are made as appealing as possible. Have a look at some of the websites, some of the Facebook sites, etc. You also have a 500-word evaluation to complete on this task. This is your last evaluation. You'll be evaluating your working and how well you met the requirements of the task. Within that, I would like you to make some kind of comparison of your dish with what you see online. Would the dish that you have provided entice yourself or someone that you know to dine at a restaurant? Make some links with your research task. So how does an online presence, i.e. the photographs that you are producing, have the impact to affect a hospitality business? That might only be 1 or 2 words or 1 or 2 sentences at the end of your evaluation, but you do need to make that link with the research task within your task itself. Don't forget that the student prac evidence sheet and the photographs are needed for this one. When we did this one originally, you were replicating or creating a dish used to advertise a restaurant online. However, we've now stepped away from that, and you are now more looking at creating a dish used online. Remembering that all of those that are used in Facebook posts and used on Instagram, etc., are quite often professionally photographed. So how are you going to ensure that your dish looks as good as possible? I'm sure that when Capella's is thinking of the photographs that they're going to be posting on their Facebook site today, it's not something that's come out of the kitchen and is about to go out to a diner. It's actually been plated up specifically for having that photograph taken. And the setting of it is also needed to be considered. The lighting of it needs to be considered. The depth of field and how close you are to the food, all of those kinds of things need to be considered. So don't forget any of that type of stuff as well. Okay, so that's the introduction, I suppose, to the task. If you go into our team as well, come on, get out of there. If you go into our team, you'll also find here is the actual task sheet itself for 2024. The question that you've been given at the moment is, what is the impact of technology in the form of social media on the food and hospitality industry? Your practical application and what you need to do, your evaluation at 500 words. I haven't put on there the performance standards just yet, but I will add those in the next day or 2 as well, so that you will have that available to you. The social media task for the student prac evidence sheet. The practical application has 3 criteria that you need to respond to. So thinking about the dot points that you're going to be providing to support the practical grade for this one. And of course your photographic evidence is going to be provided on that page as well. So you'll find what you need here. Okay, this one, the articles from hospitality.com, I'm about to go through that in a bit more detail in a second recording. Okay, hope that helps a little bit. If you want to find some examples of what we've done previously, if you go back into files from previous years, into class materials 2023, task 3 down here, you will also find that there are some exemplars from past years. I also have some much more recent ones that I can show you. There is a range of other inspiration photographs and things that you might find on there as well. You might want to have a look through there, but it's not 100% necessary to do so. Okay, hope that helps clarify what it is that we're up to for task 2. All right, thank you. Bye.